Welcome to the Road is Dead podcast. I'm your host, Rob Curtis, with a little bit of a holiday edition here. Got a few extra guests that we haven't been having lately that are joining us. Well, first off, Leah is not here this week. She's on a vacation down in Florida visiting her parents. But we are joined once again by Mr. Mike Friedman.
How's it going?
It's great to see you.
It's been a little while. It's been a little while.
Anthony Mikos has been able to join us, at least for a while. Anthony might jump out at a moment's notice, might have to leave. But we're glad we have you at least for now. And then, of course, joined by
Tim Strelecki. Friendly old grumpy bass bastard.
I thought that was my role.
No. I'm
sorry
the resident grump here.
Sorry for gesturing this way. For those of you that aren't watching on YouTube, I am gesturing in a particular direction. But on my display, you guys are in a 4-up display, and Tim is up there. So.
Yeah, you're just pointing at nothing on my screen.
Yeah.
So.
yeah, I figured. All right, so I just wanted to get one more little episode in before the end of the year. Thought it would be a nice opportunity because, of course, a lot of people are off at this time of year and or have more available time if they're not necessarily off. I mean, technically, the shop's open right now. Somebody can walk in the front door, and I might have to jump up. So, but I have a pretty good idea that's not going to happen. But wanted to get caught up with everybody. I'll do my 5-second spiel. How was the holidays? I'll do my 5-second spiel. Was okay. Julie and I got to celebrate our 23rd anniversary, and that was fun. We got to go down to Chicago and see Chicago. It's always fun to go down to Chicago. Went to the Art Institute, which if you haven't been in the Art Institute in Chicago, Julie has a saying, which I think is amazing. And every time she's in there, she goes, if all of this is here, then what art is somewhere else? Because pretty much every famous piece that you can think of is in the Art Institute in Chicago. American Gothic, freaking Van Gogh's self-portrait, all the Ferris Bueller shit.
It's a good collection.
Yes, it's a very good collection. Anyway, outside of that, most of the family is in good shape, so can't complain about that. And we are finally getting ready to swap the engine on my 1928 Model A. So it's looking like tomorrow we may pull the old one out. So if any of that shit appeals to you, drop me an email. We'll talk about it maybe. You can always email us at roadisdead@gmail.com. And to get it out of the way, make sure to cover your buttonhole this holiday season with some buttonhole chamois cream. That's it for me. Who's next?
My holiday was uneventful. It's been nice. I've had time off. Next.
Hey, you and I actually even rode a couple times, haven't we?
Yeah, I've managed to get out a couple times.
He said you crashed.
I rode once with you, where we didn't finish the ride. I will say that.
Yeah, he said you crashed.
Me? Yes, I crashed. I was like, I didn't know Anthony crashed. No. It was one day we were heading. Everything was covered in snow and ice. I had been gone. I didn't know what all was happening. And we ended up setting out, and where we started, it wasn't covered in snow and ice. We were on our gravel bikes with just regular tires. And then we started getting into some crunchy snow as we were heading north. Wasn't that big of a deal. And then, I don't know, it just got progressively worse and worse and worse. And ended up, a lot of it was the temperature. The temperature was right at freezing to right above freezing. So it just started getting slicker and slicker. Anthony had absolutely zero problems.
Until I got behind you for a bit, I was confused as to what the big deal was. And then when I got behind you and you were all over the place, and I still don't understand why, but I could tell that it was not just you weren't being hesitant. You just couldn't have.
I had no grip at all whatsoever. And it's, Tim, it's Fox River Trail, very easy path, nothing to it. And probably north of the S-curve heading towards Crystal Lake. I don't know where in that long stretch it just went downhill just over time. So I think it was been thinking about it. I think it's a combination of tires, tire size, and tire compound. That's the first time I've ridden on snow and ice with those challenge getaways, and they did not have the grip that I usually have with the Pirelli gravel H's. So, but yeah, I had no grip. I'm sitting there with we had another rider that was with us, and he was hanging with me at first when I was complaining about it, and I think he was kind of going, yeah, so kind of what's the deal, man? I could tell Anthony was thinking that because he just took off. He was
I didn't take off. I think you just slowed down. I was doing like 13 miles an hour.
I yelled twice. I was like, dude, I can't keep up with that speed. I'm all over the place. And he just went, boo. I think he was out of earshot at that point.
Yeah.
And then I was like, do I just suck at this? I mean, I've taken like a week off. I don't think that, I've lost every bike handling skill known to man. And then we just kept going, and it kept getting progressively worse. And then the other guy that we were with, who had like 40 millimeter tires and had plenty of grip, all of a sudden he started sliding all over the place as well too. So I was like, see, it's not just me.
He should have used that dropper post.
Yeah, right. But then we got into an open area, and up by the airport there, it was an open area, and it was just all compacted, polished sheet ice, and had a nice coating of water on it. And I was literally going straight, and just, the bike slid out in a way that where you're like, even though I'm going with it sideways, it's like I'm going to go down. It's just a matter of at what point.
Yeah.
So I went down at least once there, and then when we got into Crystal Lake, it was just even worse. And ended up, the underpass under 14. I had to walk it under there.
Yeah.
Anthony's on the other side, kind of waiting, checking his watch. Like, fuck, come on, let's go, guys. So by the time that happened, I looked at the other guy we were with, Andy, and I was just like, I'm going to get a ride home. Would you like a ride home if I can get a ride home? And he was like, I would take it. Anthony's like, I mean, I guess if both of you guys are getting a ride, I guess I'll go with you. But otherwise, I'm just going to ride home.
Peer pressure.
So that's how that went. But we actually did get a ride in like 2 days after that. So we're doing okay.
Nice.
I'm not complaining. I think I'm in the year with just over 4,000, coming up on 4,500 miles, something like that for the year, which for me, I think is probably a record. I would have to go and look. Even in my busy years, I don't think I never put up heavy miles. I just did intensity. So it's been a good year. And as Mike said, I look like I've lost all the weight. So,
dude, you look fantastic.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And I'm gonna ask for that compliment every time that I can.
The biggest thing is keeping up with it, right? Just maintaining it.
Absolutely.
It's like I always say it takes me 3 to 5 days to get into a routine, and then once you're in that routine, you don't want to break it, so you can kind of maintain it for a little while. But dude, you've transformed yourself
so far, and but I don't know about you guys, but I'm always a perpetual fat kid. Always going to be. I wasn't fat as a kid, but obesity runs in my family very heavily.
Fat cells never go away. Once you have the fat cells, they stay.
And I kind of was always under the impression that no matter what happens, I'm going to end up obese. And I have been on multiple occasions. So with that in me, I always just go, this is great. I love this. I actually plan on going further, but I know it's going to come back. It's just a matter of when and why and how and all that. And I can do whatever I can to stop it, but I know that I can't beat myself up if it does happen, because then it's just depressing. So I'm thankful for what I got right now. I took some time off for the holiday, because I'm like, you know what? I'm going to enjoy the holiday. I've had a good year. So I'm going to eat the cookies. I'm going to drink the beer, and then I'll just deal with it after the fact. And I got on the scale this morning, and I was like, just don't say the number I think you're going to say. Don't say the number I think you're going to say. I got on, I saw a number, and it was only up about 4 pounds, 5 pounds from where I've been. So I was actually really happy with that. So I'm already back on the bike, already thinking about next year. So, and already planning some rides. We're going to ride New Year's Day, right, Anthony?
I am, yeah.
We're looking at like a 50-mile ride New Year's Day, so which will be a good one
fun.
Have you noticed any like the last time I was on the podcast, well, it was a while ago, quite a while ago, really. But there was a podcast where we were talking about sugar intake and weight and whatnot and choices. Have you noticed any difference in like body aches or pains or? I mean, obviously you.
For sure.
You won a race this year. I saw you had a podium, which is sick. But in terms of like body aches and pains, have you noticed a difference in terms of weight loss?
Oh yeah, I mean for sure. My body just functions a hell of a lot better than it did, and I can tell that instantly. I don't have the cravings that I had. I don't have the sugar ups and downs that I had. I was, without a doubt, if I was not pre-diabetic, I probably was diabetic, and just refusing to admit it.
Did you just eat whatever you wanted when you wanted? Like if you I mean, I make these choices all the time. I've been trying to be better about it, but it's so easy to go to the sweets or the junk food or like the easy stuff in the fridge that's easy to make versus like taking 10 minutes or 20 minutes to make something that's healthy.
It was always a time thing with me, and that's why I would just eat whatever I could get, and so it was fast food all the time, almost every meal.
What's your favorite fast food?
He was on the first name basis with the dude at McDonald's.
Oh, I was, yeah. Fred.
See? Told you. Yeah. That's no lie.
I miss Fred. I actually miss him.
Fred misses your money.
I don't think Fred cared. At one point, I saw Fred was actually in the hospital, and they were doing like a fundraiser for him. So, but I haven't been back a hell of a lot.
I don't steer away from fast food now. Hospital? Are you friends with Fred on like Facebook or social media?
No, accounts? I saw it they posted it at the McDonald's.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah, I mean, I'll go, but I was eating breakfast there every day, on the way to the shop, and even if you make quote unquote better choices there,
it's still garbage.
Yeah, it's just
might as well just drink motor oil.
And I've gone both directions on this. The whole, the food is poison and all this crap in it and this and that. And I've also gone the direction of, it is literally molecules, food molecules. And, I have said my thing. The obesity epidemic, in my opinion, isn't caused by the calorie density of the food or anything else like that. Because we had people making really shit decisions with food back in the 40s, 50s, 60s, and 70s even. I personally think it was the introduction of plastics in direct contact with our food in processing, which happened in the late 70s, early 80s. And that's when we started seeing the obesity epidemic rise. I honestly think it's the estrogenic effects that we get from a lot of the plastics and plastic byproducts that get into it. But you're not going to rule that out. Anyway, that's my little platform, and I don't feel like debating that. But in general, I don't have a problem with any kind of food. People can eat whatever the hell they want. I will say alcohol is a poison. It does a lot of bad shit to your body. But it's one that I can't seem to completely kick at this point. Although you guys would be happy to hear Julie actually the other day was like, hey, do you want to try dry January? So we'll see how that goes.
Dry January doesn't work because you just go full throttle in February. Make up for January's dryness.
No, it's. But as you know, I've talked to you about it. I kicked around the idea of just not drinking during this last season because I knew that would probably be one thing that would put me over and really kind of get my body to go in the right direction. But to answer your question, Mike, it's. I would eat what I wanted when I wanted to an extent. As the weight started to come off, the only way that I was able to get the weight to come off was just riding and ride as much as I could, whenever I could, and not overthink what it was. Just on the bike, riding. And the more hours, the better. I didn't have to impress anybody, and I wasn't doing intensity, anything like that, just riding. So even my cross season was completely built on Zone 2 all year. And then when we started cross racing, that's when I started getting intensity. And my body reacts to intensity. It comes around super quick when I get intensity. And I'll lose weight even though I'm not putting in the hours anymore. So, but that's, and then once it came down, then all the food cravings change. But I was definitely in a spot for a long time where the sweets, my body wouldn't would tell me what kind of foods it wanted, and there were always bad ones. But my body would be like, I can't, like, I'd be queasy unless I had to have some sort of sugar, you know. And I'd have a sugar high, I'd have a sugar trough, and I was really managing blood glucose. I knew I was. And then as the weight came off, that started to disappear. I would say it fully went away October-ish, maybe September, October timeframe. And it's been gone since then. And then it started to kind of come back a little bit during the holidays, early part of the holidays. So I kind of eased up on that. But once all that's all gone, the only thing I want is like protein. You know, want protein when I wake up, want protein for every meal. And if I have protein, I'm like satiated forever. I pretty much eat out of habit now.
Every now and then I get a hankering for Wendy's Dave's doubles off the chain.
Ooh.
You know.
Go big or go home.
You just said my comfort food, man.
You know,
damn.
The local Wendy's here is open till 2 a.m. You know, I can't say I haven't gotten a hankering at 11, and then you go and get the sandwich, and then you feel guilty going to bed right after.
I will say, dude. I will say,
double.
Wendy's is the closest fast food joint to this shop. And
I think it's better than McDonald's. I think it's better than most of the fast food places.
Oh, yeah. I don't disagree with you. And there was more than one Tuesday night group ride where I hadn't eaten all day, and I went by and I grabbed a Dave's Double on the way to the group ride.
Yeah, either that, it's either on the way or like on the way. Like, that's kind of the best feeling is you go out kind of do like a, you know, not necessarily you don't intend to do a bonk ride, but you come back like pretty ravenous and you stop at Wendy's and, man, it's just like everything you want. You know?
I would do it to avoid the bonk. And the times where I didn't do it, Anthony, you can speak to the fact that then I would bonk so hard that it would be like, all right, where's the closest brewery?
That's a good point. I'm going to do that next time. You know, instead of trying to ride hungry and come back and eat, I'm going to go buy a Dave's Double and stick it in my pocket. And eat it.
I will say this. Mid-group ride, you just bust out the...
Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
Just cut it into like bite sizes, like the scratch little rice cakes, and you just munch on that.
Yeah, I mean, you want to look forward to it. You know, you might as well eat what you want to eat. I mean, if you're exercising and you're out there and you're going,
then it doesn't matter.
Oh yeah,
it really doesn't. I mean, then you get the craving out of the way, and then you can come back and focus. You know,
and that's quite a flex on a group ride if you pull a burger out of your pocket.
Oh yeah,
and just stare at the person next to you and take a big bite, and then go to the front.
On the front, no, on the front of the group, you just bust it out. You just start eating it.
Yeah. That reminds me of that ad you guys did on what was it, Optum?
Yeah, on Optum.
That was great. Where you guys are all on the line, pace line, eating everything, eating pizza. You're eating like noodles or something.
Yeah, Chinese food. You wouldn't believe how many Chinese containers I went through. How many shots it took to get to that one shot.
That was so good. That's honestly one of the best things I've ever seen. It doesn't get shared and played enough, in my opinion.
Oh,
yeah, it's pretty funny.
I'll have to find a still from that and make that the screen capture for this episode. But I will say, to your point though, it didn't. So the sugar, it changed. Anthony, you know, I used to always take a gel on every ride to get through it. And somewhere, I would always bring a gel with me as a backup. Shit, there were times at the beginning of this year when I would bring 2 or 3 gels because I was scared of bonking.
Our 35-mile
Tuesday night. And I was like,
ride.
I don't know if I'm going to get through it. I would take 2. I would take 1 at the first stop, and I would take 1 in St. Charles before heading up the climbs. And then I went down to 1, and then I started taking it just because I was afraid of getting a bonk. And then I was like, you know what? You've got it with you. Who cares? Just ride. If you really bonk. And I played around with a lot of bonks, and I bonked a lot this year.
Dude, I bring like 8 gels with me.
Feeling.
But see, with me, it's always like, why would I have a gel when that's the most rotten form of sugar for me, for my body? And the whole point of this is to lose weight. You know, so to your point, Mike, of going out and doing the bonk ride. So to Kenny's point, Kenny, when he was losing a lot of his weight, he would go out and ride to bonk. And then he would just make it a death march, you know, and push through the bonk.
So unhealthy.
At like 2 miles an hour, you know, just to make his body eat itself. And it worked. It didn't take nearly as long as it would take me to do that, but he lost a ton of weight doing it. Not a healthy way of doing it. I don't recommend anybody do that.
I mean,
not to mention the fact you get lightheaded and end up with your ass in the middle of traffic.
I mean, I always found the best way for me to lose weight, and like, you know, I had to have the DEXA scans to see where my fat was, like, within my muscle tissues and how it was distributed on my body. But I mean, the best way for me to lose weight, and I lost a lot of weight this way, was to eat fat and burn fat. So you just stay in your fat burning zone. Once you know your zones, you just stay in those 4 beats per minute. Maybe it's 10, but it's just so low. And then you're drinking, like I was just drinking olive oil and water, or like coconut oil and water, and then just staying in that fat burn zone. And what was cool about that is you lose weight, but what was fascinating, when you analyze the power profile of it, and your heart rate and your speed and like the time you're gaining, your distance you're going, was your power would eventually start going up, which was fun to see when you're burning, you're going at the same heart rate zones, but your power is steadily going up. Your weight's coming down because you're just burning straight fat. And then when you institute that carbohydrate, the much faster fuel, you got to force your body. It doesn't want to burn the 9 kilocalories per gram. It wants to burn the 4 kilocalories per gram. It wants to burn the sugar, which is why you get that spike, right, with the sugar that you're talking about in the gel. Which is why I think taking a Wendy's Dave's Double is probably a good fuel source.
I got no problem with it. I was going to say on the double, though, the one thing I did this year is I made myself, when I went, go. And I did this in all my eating, but this is a good example of it. I went to it and I went, I don't need the double. Let me get a single. And if I'm still hungry, if I'm still hungry later, I can go again. I'm not going to beat myself up over it. If I'm hungry later, I can go again. And because I knew in the back of my mind, I knew I was going to eat the single. It was going to satisfy the craving. It was going to be enough. And I actually wasn't going to be hungry afterwards. I was hungry immediately afterwards, but if I let it sit for 20 minutes, then I was fine.
Wow.
And I did that with a lot of my eating this year.
I do like the idea of you going back, though.
I never did.
Patty. Can I just order a patty? I should have ordered a double.
I should have gotten a double, man. They'd be like, 3 cars in front of you already did that.
Still in his chamois. I just need another patty, please.
The number of times I've rolled through the Taco Bell drive-through completely decked out in kit is phenomenal.
Yeah, I tried to do that. The Wendy's here, I came back from a ride. It was pretty bonked out. And tried to go through the drive-through, and they wouldn't accept me going through the drive-through, so I had to go in. They were like waving me in, but they didn't expect me to bring my bike in with me because the theft here is such a it's pretty bad here in Boulder, that like bike theft. So I was taking it in no matter what. And they were like mad that I brought the bike in, and it was just, I don't know, it was kind of a weird experience, but it didn't matter. It's got that sandwich and just went outside and sat down.
Yep.
Just took it in.
It's a glorious feeling. I get it. I don't mean to harp on weight and everything else for everybody. If you're listening, I don't care what your size is and all that. Just, you're beautiful. Thank you for being here and being a part of the sport.
Totally. Yeah. Well, going back to the body aches, I've been struggling with this sciatica for like the last 4 weeks and, over the holidays. I didn't hear any Christmas music. I didn't go home for the holidays. I didn't, the only time I heard Christmas music was when I went to like the local Safeway here or the grocery store 30 minutes before they closed on Christmas Eve night, which was a funny experience because there's like this mad rush of everybody trying to shop at the last minute for Christmas stuff. And it was great. So peaceful. My brothers, my parents, everyone's all stressed out and tired trying to wrap gifts. And I'm just sitting here enjoying myself, calm, not stressed out, But the sciatica, man, if that's what it is, it's definitely some form of it. The nerve pain is a crazy experience. I've gotten massaged a couple of times, went to see a chiropractor. I'm going to go see some other people. But I've never had nerve pain where it like makes one of my legs completely numb. It's a very strange experience. And part of that's being out of shape and not taking care of myself the same way as I used to. But also part of that could be injury. I don't know, but it's people have, oh yeah, I have sciatica, and you never really give it the credence that it probably deserves.
Yeah.
I hadn't, and
Yeah.
man, going through it now currently, like it's why I'm sitting in this chair is like,
yeah,
I can pedal a bike, but I come off the bike and I can barely walk. I can't walk. I'm like crippled, walking crooked and hunched over, and it's a very strange experience.
We talked a little bit before we jumped on, but I think I've mentioned it on this podcast before, but if I have a thing called pars defect, and it gives me a lot of the same similar symptoms. So I understand the pain, and it is debilitating. It will completely sideline you.
Yeah, it's pretty brutal.
And I've noticed too, though, that it is aggravated by my overly tight hamstrings, which are a result of the condition. I can't touch my toes. I've never been able to touch my toes. And I don't have the flexibility in the saddle. It shows, and it's always been an issue. But I'm coming to find that a lot of my issues that I do have on the bike do come back to really tight hamstrings. And I know that also when I do try to work on my flexibility there, some of that pain goes away and is put aside. So it's kind of one of my only approaches for that. That and sitting upright in every seat, making sure my lower back is underneath me.
Yeah, like when you're working, you're sitting on a chair, you're very static, and so there, you have your sciatic nerve, and you also have your femoral nerve. And I don't know about you guys, but like as a cyclist and as someone who sits in a chair a lot more now, my psoas is always like I found that if I take one of these massage guns and dig into my psoas, that I get some relief on that, and that's usually a muscle that's kind of like not. I mean, people know about it, but I think that it's causes more problems than people realize, because it torques everything. Everything is attached to your pelvis. Go on, Rob.
What's a psoas?
It's your muscle that goes, it's hard to show you, but it goes from like here, and it's at the lower, it's at your back, and it's
wraps
underneath
around
your abdomen, and comes around the front of your pelvis, and you have your iliopsoas and your adductors. It's all connected to your pelvis, but it's deep in your abdomen.
Yeah.
So it's very painful to have release because you have to really dig your fingers in there. But if you have one of these massage guns, like, those pulsating massage guns, if you lay down on a couch or like on a bed and stretch out that area, and then you just dig that thing in there, you can feel it. And for me, I think that's part of my problem is my psoas being extraordinarily tight. Anyways, it's just food for thought because it's connected everywhere. And when you read up about, the tight psoas or like, sciatica where the causes are, and the low back pain, it could be your iliac joint. It could be your L1 through L4, L5 lumbar. There's all kinds of different things that can cause it, but I don't know. I mean, I'm at a point
where your iliac, you had the iliac kink.
Well, that's the other thing. Yeah, I had the iliac artery surgery when I was racing. I had a 90-degree kink that was restricting blood flow to my left leg. So I had the surgery to open that back up so I could continue racing. Because when I was racing with it, I had no power in that leg when I had the kink there. But that's also causing some issues, I think, because my left leg is now smaller than my right leg. It's like atrophied. I've been taking photos of it over the last year, and I thought it was because I had a blood clot in my right leg, and I thought my right leg was swollen compared to my left. But now I'm pretty convinced that my left leg is actually atrophied, and that could be from some form of neuropathy, nerve damage, or in my case, maybe it's more likely that it's an issue related to that surgery that I had. I mean, it's a pretty advanced surgery. Yeah, blood flow and maybe scar tissue impeding. I need to get an MRI or a CT scan to see what's going on with it because, I mean, it's hard to know. You don't know. I mean, it could be. It's just weird to see, like in a photo, how drastically different my legs are now.
That's crazy. Well, keep an eye on it and keep us posted, and hopefully you can start finding some solutions. I know I'm not a doctor. Anything I'm throwing out is just, us talking on a podcast.
Well, I mean, you never know who listens to this stuff. I mean, a buddy of mine, Ian McGregor, who's, I don't know if you guys know who that is. He's the CEO at Scratch Labs. He was going to do the surgery as well, but he opted out of it because he didn't want to deal with any long-term issues. And I mean, you never know, you can have long-term issues from different things, but I don't know if it's, a nerve issue or if it's a blood flow issue or
Well, in your particular situation, you've had surgery that could affect it, and that's what kind of gives me like the pause. But normally what I found from most people is a lot of issues on balance and pain and support and all sorts of other stuff when they actually do focused work to help strengthen other parts of their body. A lot of that goes away. I know for me, it's helped out a lot. I'm not saying that that's your solution.
Oh, no,
like I said, you've had surgery.
I'm very unbalanced in general too. Like, I mean, there's some back exercises that, you don't, when you go for a ride, like yesterday I went for a 38-mile ride. I came back and I was tired and it wasn't going to do anything else, and today maybe I'll do some other stuff, but like that balance is definitely a key thing. I think most athletes at a high level and even at an amateur level, because you spend most of your time riding, are unbalanced. There's a musculature, structural imbalance that then pulls on different things, I mean, I think the off season's a good time to rebuild some of that, but also I think you need to build that during the season as well.
I think that's especially true for as you age as an athlete, as you continue to be athletic and you age as well. You have to, a lot of the younger generation can do it in the off season and then not either maintain it or just let it completely go and then do it again in the off season, and then not do anything during the meat of their season. But I think for me personally, as an older athlete, you gotta do it all year so that shit doesn't catch up to you. And so when and if you do crash, you don't fuck yourself up royally.
Yeah, I mean, I like the off time though. Like I'm kind of just getting back into the riding thing again for a little bit here. And if I ride, like I want to ride every day, but if I ride every day, like I need that recovery just so I can and I need to be okay with that recovery. So I don't feel like I have to just do it every single day. You're a little older than I am, Tim, but I've definitely noticed, I'm 42 now, and I've definitely noticed changes, since like 38, like you start seeing like variations and, but I've definitely, it's just, you got to maintain it, Can
I officially say it gets worse?
Yeah, no, I thought you might say that,
but it doesn't have to get worse. It could actually get better if you stay on top of it.
Yeah.
Straight up.
I will say I'm in better shape than I was. So I can say that, but it just dawned on me when he said, I'm the oldest guy on this podcast.
Are you?
It's a weird spot for me to be in. Dude, I turned 50 like 3 weeks ago.
You and Anthony are the least gray here.
Oh, I'm grayer than all three of you put together.
My grow beard is pretty gray.
Oh, I'm gray as a motherfucker.
If I were to actually let a beard grow at this point, it would be mostly gray. I get, if I, in between haircuts, even though I trim my sideburns, they slowly creep down. And that transition from hair to like beard hair, right around there, I start getting these pure white hairs. And it's bad. It's bad. Those also pop up in other places too. At least I've been told by my wife.
Anthony's going to be a fucking ginger till the day he dies.
I've got some grays coming in.
Yeah.
But it's some.
It's a ginger ninja.
Dude, you just reminded me of you guys remember the claymation, the one that's the origin of Santa Claus?
Yeah, here we go.
The young version.
Yeah.
Anthony. Mm-hmm. You're saying that, so I'm assuming you've been told that before.
Yeah.
Half of the listeners are too young to know what the fuck you're talking about, and the other generation is like, dear God.
Some old man on the internet just said something about something.
Yeah, no, it's like you mentioned before, Mike. I think how you said you notice things as you're getting a little older, how you're getting these little aches and pains, and I started realizing that too, and how behind the eight ball I am. Like, I used to have a real physical job where I delivered furniture, so I was on my feet for 10 hours a day, lifting things that were 3 times my fucking body weight, and I was strong as an ox, like strong as shit. And then the pandemic came, and they hit the panic button. I got laid off, and I haven't done any gym work since then. So like 4 years, I'm weak as a fucking wet noodle right now. The only thing that's strong is my legs, and I notice it every day. And it's just like, holy shit. Every day that passes, I'm like, man, you get like this year, I'm like, I'm freaking out. I'm like, I got to get in the gym. Like, I finally have to get in the gym or use the tools that I'm currently are sitting right here, right next to me, and just do something. because like the surgeries that I've had in the past, I'm starting to feel those ailments a little more, tib fib break with, rods and screws and bolts and all sorts of shit. All that stuff is starting to catch up to me. And it's just like, you don't want to be in a position where you realize you're so far behind the 8 ball until it's too late to do something.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is the problem, right? When you're too far behind, because it's hard to it's hard to get back to some semblance of fitness. Mm-hmm. It's not hard to lose weight as long as you're just doing it consistently, but it is hard to get that fitness back and then maintain that routine and stay on top of it.
Absolutely.
I Robin, what you're saying with, food at Christmas time, I think that's totally healthy, dude. Eat what you want as long as you're exercising, within reason. You're not trying to eat gorged out, but you can eat what you want as long as you're putting down time exercising.
Yeah. It's, for me, I knew mentally it would pay off by taking that specific time off and just kind of letting my inner hedonist go free. Is that the correct term? Even though I'm referring to food.
Yeah. We'll go with that.
Gluttonist or anyway. I get it.
Like I told you earlier, I've not been practicing moderation this past week.
Yeah.
I've just been kind of letting it go. And, like you said, mentally it's been kind of nice because this is the first time I've had more than a week off of work.
Yeah.
Far back as I can remember. And because I haven't been working, I haven't been riding every single day. So it's been my body's been kind of enjoying just having some time to just not do anything. Yeah, unless I really wanted to.
You can't get too complacent like that because then you're gonna get used to it. You're gonna like it, and then when it's time to fucking light the fuse, you're gonna be like, nah, it's just easier to go the other way.
And that's been the balance, the struggle I've had in the past, and because of how much riding and racing I did this season and the level that I kind of ramped up to, I'm hungrier to get back to it. The rides I have done, I've been psyched to go do, even though the day I ran into you, it was 42 and raining, and I was excited to go ride for 2 hours, whereas that would have been the perfect excuse to not go ride before.
I heard, not to bring in professionals into this, and I heard a little thing with Pogačar a while ago, a month or two ago, where he talks about I'll every now and then I'll eat a little sweets or I'll eat that, because if you completely live the monk cyclist lifestyle and you don't allow yourself to have it when it comes time to their off season or whatever, they'll just gorge themselves till they're fucking they'll just gorge themselves till they're disgusting.
It's like the Amish when they get their Rumspringa week. They're not going to try a McDonald's for the first time. They're doing lines of Coke and they're experiencing everything.
Yeah. So I can't. That's and this is all coming from me. I have an addictive personality. My nature is all or none. So that's why
I think we
live
all
kind
do
of
to an extent.
I'm always I can't do just a little.
Yeah,
because I'll go the other way and it'll be fucking full throttle.
Mm-hmm. Well, and because of this, the way this past season played out for me, I had just the positive momentum I had developed from all the riding and the training. It was easy for me. I didn't cut anything. I just naturally ratcheted back on a lot of stuff. Instead of doing the Taco Bell after the group ride, I would come home and make a protein shake. That stuff just sort of naturally occurred. So instead of my indulgences now being I'm gonna go eat a whole pizza, it's I'm gonna have some chips and guac while I watch a show, before that, it's
go ahead, sorry.
No, I'm just, it's the level of indulgence that I'm doing now is not what it was before, so it's a lot easier for me to kind of back off it again.
Yeah, and I think that's key to always keep that front of mind. Allow yourself, but don't allow yourself to go too far.
Right.
I don't know.
It's all about those trade-offs. I mean, to your point, Anthony, I'm doing kind of the same thing. Last night, when Julie mentioned, hey, we should do dry January, I went, and this was yesterday, I went, oh, so I need to be absolutely shit-faced for the next 3 days? Okay, I can do that.
Hey, that, if I probably would have been that guy. All right, I got 71 hours. I'm going full throttle.
All I'm doing is I'm thinking about all the beer that's in the fridge in the garage, all the liquor that's in the cabinet.
Stale or not, I'm drinking it.
I'm like, I got to go through this. But then last night I was sitting there and I'm just like, it's just gonna dry me out, make me congested. I'm gonna feel like crap.
Yeah.
And so I was sitting there and I just ended up just drinking water and Element. And then I was sitting there and I'm like, but man, I've got a hankering for food. I got the munchies of some sort. I want to go eat something. And I ended up just I was like thinking of making a pizza and doing this and doing that. And I ended up just grabbing a freaking multigrain
a granola bar.
No, it's still an English muffin with actual butter on it. But it's still a hell of a lot better choice than what I could have made.
I'll never push a pizza out of my face. Give it to me. I'll eat the shit out of a pizza. No cheese though. No cheese.
No cheese.
You and me both.
That's right.
No
you
cheese.
And me both.
And I prefer
what the fuck
thin
is a
whole
pizza without cheese like?
It's way better than a fucking pizza with cheese.
I don't know, man.
In my opinion, I'll be shitting my brains out for the next year.
Yeah. That's the trade-off. That's the trade-off I made with pizza.
Or intolerant him?
What? No. It's the thing is, probably about 5 or 6 years ago, my wife, her longer than that, but for me, it's been like almost 6 years. She before that was living like she made.
I gotta step out. I'll be right back.
She made a conscious decision to, live like a vegan lifestyle for her health benefits and for the animals and everything like that. And so for the longest time, we were doing like her grocery list and my grocery list, which can still contain like meat and stuff. And then it's like she'll make her dinner and then she'll make my dinner. And to me, it just became like, why the fuck are we doing this? Like, I'll just adopt your lifestyle. It's not going to hurt me, but having to have 2 grocery trips, 2 different meals, and all this prep time and all this others, I'll just adopt your eating, and I've done it ever since, and it's been fine. So it's like a vegan whole food plant-based.
You got off dairy to be a vegan, and then when you incorporated it back in, you noticed a difference in your gut biome that you're now having issues with it.
No, I don't know. That was just throwing it out there. I haven't eaten meat, cheese, dairy, anything in like 6 years.
I see. So it's not because it makes you feel sick. It's because it's a choice.
It's a choice. It's 100% a choice. 100% a choice. For me. And I do. To elaborate on that, I have noticed a difference. Like, there's times where I have contemplated in the past, like, okay, I'm getting all my protein this way. Would it be different if I went back to meat, and would I feel any different from getting like animal protein? And I don't think. I think as long as you're getting it, it doesn't matter what form you're getting it in. Obviously, the more natural way with beans and legumes and fruits and vegetables and all that is a lot cleaner and a lot healthier for me. But I don't really notice. As long as I'm getting it, I'm fine.
Do you think you could eat insect protein?
You would probably have to hold a gun to my head to get me to do that. Like, I'm not gonna eat like crickets and shit like the weird street foods. I couldn't do that.
What if it was processed, like a powder? You wouldn't even notice it was cricket protein.
I've read some shit like that, and I'm keen to that. Whatever that like word is in the ingredient list, I know what it is, so I look out for that.
I mean, I think we're like 1 or 2 countries that don't eat some form of insect protein because we have this like nostalgia towards it. Like, I can't eat that, but but evidently, and I don't know the exact fact of this, but like crickets have a higher protein ratio than eggs.
I have heard that.
And frankly, like, I don't have a problem eating insects. Like, I mean, if you look at, crustaceans from the ocean, lobster, crab, whatever, I mean, they're in the same family group, and I'm not going to fry up a tarantula to eat a tarantula. I'm not going to fry up crickets as a whole thing.
Yeah.
Cicadas, like fried cicadas, is evidently pretty good. Like, I've heard.
I'll take your word for that.
I'm not gonna go eat one. But if it was powderized, and I don't think I would have a problem eating that kind of a protein, especially knowing that it has that the impact on the environment is actually a lot cleaner. I mean, to raise
Yostein and Sarah were eating fried ones this summer when we had our huge cicada invasion.
Oh yeah, they actually caught them and fried them up.
Oh yeah,
and what did they say the flavor profile was like?
I didn't ask.
Hot
sauce.
I didn't care. Fucking gallon of hot sauce on that shit. So I don't know what it is.
It tastes like a crab. Then
you're all in.
I don't know, man.
I'd be willing to try it.
No,
I will say when we had that huge invasion, the smell when somebody would mow their lawn, it's a very distinct smell, and it's just cicadas getting chopped up.
See, we didn't where I'm at in Geneva. We hardly got any.
Yeah, we didn't get any up here.
Which I would thankful
like we talked about, they were in spots.
Yeah.
In little caches throughout, because you would ride on the pass and you would hear them in a deafening amount, and then there would be nothing.
Yeah.
It's pretty interesting.
The one thing I did read up on, or I heard something was this form of vitamin B, cyanocobalamin. It's in a lot of our food. And I read up on the process of it. It's fucking disgusting. And I'm not, super scientific here, but I think it's from a water or a shit recycling plant,
Oh yeah, I think I've heard about that.
And they take the foam, scrape it off, process it somehow, and that shit goes in your food as a form of vitamin B.
That sounds way worse than eating a cricket.
Oh hell yeah! I'm not hell yeah. So
you guys would be very disappointed to know that the vast majority of your drinking water is recycled poop and pee water.
I don't drink my drinking water.
Well, any water. I mean, if you're taking a shower, you get any in your mouth. That was somebody's pee at some point.
Yeah, I mean, it's
telling you.
It's just the way it goes. But
if you look at the microbiology of it, the process of it, I am in awe of what they do, and I think they do a great job of doing it.
Unless you're plucking it out of the ground and putting it in your mouth, it's fucking processed.
And honestly, if you're plucking it out of the ground and putting it in your mouth, then it's got all the runoff and all the other shit, literally. That is a problem everywhere else.
Also, all the veggies we recognize as veggies have been modified over, just through, not even necessarily like GMO modified, just like, the corn we know today didn't look like the corn that they had in this country originally.
Selective
people
breeding
figured out how to make it better.
If I go to the store and see a fucking watermelon that's as big as my house, I'm not buying it. Even though I love it.
Have you seen the square watermelons they grow in Japan?
Oh Jesus!
Oh yeah,
they do square ones to fit in the smaller fridges.
Yep.
Well, actually,
it's all about efficiency.
Well, they do it for shipping purposes too, because
makes sense.
You just put it in a thing and it grows to the shape of the
right.
Caption you're putting around it, but they can ship a lot more watermelon that way.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
I don't have a problem with a lot of for those reasons. I don't have a problem with a lot of things food wise. Now, there's some things food wise that I definitely would have a problem, but this is my mother used to make a dish called baked eggs and ham. Now, a little bit of background: my mother was a home ec major at Illinois State. And had a recipe in the Betty Crocker cookbook at one point. That's what she did. And there was this recipe of baked eggs and ham. Long story with it, but somehow they got it. I think it was at some point a Betty Crocker recipe, but it is a Christmas staple. We always had it every Christmas morning. So it's the kind of thing where now that my mom's gone, pretty much all of us kids will make it for our families on Christmas morning. So Julie has always made it in the past, and I'd say in the last year or so, I've taken over all the cooking at home activities. And so I was like, you know what? I can't wait to make it for myself. I've never made it on my own before. I'd only ever made it with my mom. So Julie had preserved my mom's recipe card with her handwriting on it and everything. And a couple of years back, got a cutting board made with that writing etched into it. So I always had the recipe. I go and I look at it and I'm like, I'm going to go buy the stuff for it. And this is quickly on the heels of the birthday cake thing I think I told one of you about not that long ago. But I'm looking at the ingredients to go shopping for it. And I know it's bad. But I mean, you got to remember this is 1960s, 1970s. It was better living through modern chemistry and food.
And Miracle Whip.
Well, so this recipe calls specifically for margarine. It calls for the pans to be greased with Crisco.
Mm-hmm.
And then the cheese that's on it is Velveeta. And so I don't know if you guys know. It's pretty hard to find Velveeta. I don't know where Velveeta is in the store, but I know I have to go find it once a year. And so, you get the 1 pound block or 2 pound block of Velveeta cheese, and slicing and dicing that up. That's an experience anymore. As a kid, I would eat Velveeta nonstop in all different forms and loved it to death. And until my mom passed away, they had Velveeta singles in their fridge at all times. So
you actually need to keep that in the fridge.
It's Velveeta is shelf stable until you open it, and once you open it, you do need to refrigerate. I did read it. I read it this
once you
last
pull the
week.
pin out.
Yes, you do need to refrigerate it, but you need to eat it also within like 4 or 6 weeks or something. But I will say this time we made the batch. I was kind of like, and I bypassed on the last slice, and usually we eat it up within a day or two. I bypassed on the last slice this time, and I told Julie the other day, I was like, you know what? I'm thinking of making some changes to it for next year. I might use actual cheddar cheese, and I might use actual butter, instead. And she's like, you're going to change your mom's recipe? And I'm like,
yeah,
I think it's time.
Yeah. She's not going to come back and yell at you.
No. But I don't know if but I had my birthday, and my mother would make a white cake with white icing on it, and everybody in my family's been trying to figure it out. Julie somehow got a hold of what the recipe was supposed to have. So for my birthday, or for Parker's birthday, he wanted it. I actually baked it. It's the first time I've tried it, and to now know everything that's in it, it's like I know why it's so good, but it is so bad.
It's mayo. It's mayo, isn't it?
No, it's
6 pounds of sugar.
Oh no, it's a pound. It's a pound. It's just a Betty Crocker super moist white cake mix. So whatever's in that, you Crisco the pan, of course, and then the icing is really the key, and that's what sets it apart from almost everything else. No one makes an icing like this. Every white icing out there is like either buttercream or it's like super creamy. It doesn't have the overpowering sugar side of it. So what it is it's lard. It's like a third of a cup of Crisco.
Oh,
2 or 3 egg whites raw.
Feel my fucking
a pound of confectioner sugar.
This is bad.
And there's something else.
Suddenly, that fucking Dave's double doesn't sound too bad.
Yeah. A little bit of vanilla, not imitation vanilla, but a little bit of vanilla. But you whisk it up. The process to it is kind of involved. Oh, and then you just add milk until it comes out to the right consistency.
Vitamin D, whole milk.
Well, that's the thing. Everybody's been like, we can't get it right. We can't get it right the way Mom used to do it. So and then I thought to myself, I'm like, it's the milk, because everybody in the family's basically been buying like organic milk and whole milk and all this stuff for a long time now. I was like, we need to go get what Mom would get, and it was the whatever, here it would be Dean's, 2%, whatever was the mass processed milk at the thing. So that's what I went and I got, and I put a little bit in. Perfect, dead on. I nailed it. But at least I did use the pasteurized egg whites.
That's good.
Which I have on hand anyway, for making eggs in the morning. So that it was slightly different in that regard. But yeah, no, it's you really. And I grew up on all this crap, and I didn't have weight problems or health problems or anything during that time period. I have them now, but it's all the choices I'm making as an adult, that's really been impacting me. It's the, everything else. Anyway, I've done a lot of talking about me. What are you guys? Okay, so did we cover everybody's holidays? Yes, no? I don't think we did.
Dude, you are 49 minutes late on that.
Yeah, no, I know.
Well, real quick, while you guys were talking, I was researching cricket protein and the ratio of meat and eggs. And I mean, it's quite high. It's higher than
I've heard that.
it depends on the amount of egg or it depends on the amount of beef you eat, but like the cricket protein is quite high. It's like 65 to 70% protein. So if you get in the powder form, I mean, I get it. You don't want to eat the insect, but if you eat a lobster or a crab, it looks just like it's just a bigger version of it. Like I mean, I don't know.
Dude, I always loved lobster growing up, but then probably in the last couple of years, I've really started to see them for what they are, which is like the cockroach of the sea. And I have not been able to stomach the idea of them lately. But it's my kid got a gecko for his birthday, and we have to go get crickets every few days to feed the gecko. And I don't know, maybe I'll throw a couple of those in the Ninja and see what kind of shake I can come up with.
What this says, it says it tastes nutty to like shrimp.
Sure.
Anywhere in between. And I mean, people are eating cockroaches on this Reddit forum. I'm never going to do that. That sounds potato crickets. I could probably do,
but they have a powdered form. Is that what you're saying of cricket?
Yeah, dry it out and grind it up.
Or it's not commercially available?
No, it is commercially available.
Yeah,
you can buy
get it commercially.
Yeah, you can get them here in the U.S.
I would almost be down for trying a protein shake with cricket protein.
Don't lie to yourself.
I don't know, man.
Don't lie to yourself. You are
throw
not
some
going to do
peanut butter in with it.
I mean, it's not. I would definitely do that. I have no problem trying that. I mean, why not?
If it's I have texture issues. I mean, if it's pulverized, I wouldn't have a problem.
Yeah, it's pulverized. It's powder. I don't know if you can see that, but it's powder.
Looks delicious.
That does not look delicious.
And this is coming from someone who, like, if I want protein, I'll just go drain a block of tofu and just eat it without any adornment. So, like, I don't have texture issues, and I don't mind bland and kind of mealy stuff, but I'm glad I just have that in my back pocket where I can just go, I'll just go grab a $2 brick of tofu. No shortage of protein in it.
I don't know that I've ever had tofu, and that's pathetic.
You would know if you did.
Soy sauce.
That's kind of what I figured. I avoided it like the plague when I lived in Asia, but I need to try it at some point. But from what I understand, it's just completely bland.
It'll take on whatever flavor you want to give it.
Yeah.
So if I just throw a pile of peanut butter on it, it'll be good.
Yeah. It's used in a lot of Asian cuisine. Thai food, all that stuff.
Yep. Anyway, sorry.
And real quick on the beer thing, Rob, since you want to do a dry January.
I didn't say I wanted to do it. I said that Julie brought it up.
I mean, have you tried?
Let me be specific.
Have you tried any of the newest non-alcoholic beers? Like Sierra Nevada's
I have heard a lot of really good things.
Like there's some, like Avery's got one. I think New Belgium's got one. I don't know what's out there near you, but like I know Sierra Nevada you can get. And like when I tried one of their hazy, I was drinking it, and the guy's like, he didn't even tell me. I didn't even look at the can. I just thought it was beer,
Yeah.
He's like, that's non-alcoholic, right? I was like, no fucking way, dude. This tastes just like beer.
Yeah, one of the races that we went to,
I'm not a big alcohol guy, so
there's been a lot of NA beers, craft beers that have been popping up at a lot of the races in the last year or so. Rough Road, I know, had a NA beer sponsor.
Surprising.
There's Athletic Grains or something or whatever it's called. That is that style of beer. I will say I had a non-alcoholic hazy IPA once this year. Tasted great. Loved it. Yeah. But to me, that kind of I understand what you're saying, and I highly embrace it. If people need to do it, then I'd say go and do it. For me, though, it would not be solving the problem.
So you're looking for more of a lift then, or whatever, a down.
No, I adore the taste, and that's my problem. And if you only enjoy the taste, then you should have no problem with non-alcoholic beer. I don't have a problem with it, but if I'm going to try a dry January, to me, it's not about the alcohol part of it. It's about not consuming that calorie dense of a material, and that's going to be the case if it's
drink fucking Michelob Ultra,
alcohol or not. That's water. I'd rather drink water with element in it, to be honest with you.
There you go.
Your birthday ride at Alter, I had 2 of their NA beers because I was basically not drinking, during the season at all until after my race on Sunday, and it was fine.
God, I was wondering why I didn't like you that much this year.
I noticed huge difference, though, especially in how I slept and how I felt in the morning.
Yeah.
Even if it was just because I hardly ever drink to excess, but even like, just having a beer at home with dinner or something, I would notice if I skipped that, I'd feel better the next day. It's crazy.
Yeah. That's the point where I'm at. That I don't drink during the week usually, just as a general rule. But if I can't have 1, 2, or 3 with a meal, kind of thing, like 1 or 2 in a night, because it just leaves me feeling horrible before I even go to bed. Mm-hmm. So it's one of those where if I'm going to drink, then it's going to be enough to give me enough of a buzz that it holds on until I go to bed. And I don't really like that as much as I used to. Mm-hmm. It's part of getting old. But I love the taste. I absolutely adore the taste, and I would love to sit there and have the taste of everything and not have the impact of the alcohol. But I don't know if it's still going to leave me all congested because of the hops and everything else. So
I get as someone, like, when I went vegan, I got that question all the time about, like, well, why do you use, like, Beyond Meat if you gave up meat? And it's like, well, it's not about, for me, it wasn't about the taste. Like, it's not like I hated meat or hated the flavor of meat. It was like I did it for other reasons. I did it for the animals or whatever. So if I have a replica that doesn't involve the thing that I'm trying to avoid, for me, it was like, that just makes sense. It's the same way with non-alcoholic beer. It's like, if it serves the purpose of I enjoy the taste, I have no problems with an A beer.
It's interesting. I might try an experiment. I'm not going to tell anybody, though, because I don't like to tell anybody.
You got to be careful with those fake vegan meats, though.
No, I know.
Just basically pour a fucking gallon of salt and just drink that.
No, I'm aware. It's an indulgence, I'm making a pot of chili of it tomorrow for New Year's Eve for some friends, and most of the stuff I'm eating is not that anymore.
That's good.
New Year's Eve or New Year's Day plans? Anyone?
Making a pot of chili and having some friends over.
New Year's Day?
Riding with you.
Tim?
It's just another day, man.
I know.
Nothing special. No.
But you're I assume
training.
Darcy's not working.
Oh no, she'll be off. It's nothing special. Probably do some chores.
When I say I'm having people over, they'll be leaving at about 9. So
yeah.
We're not partying, just having people over.
No, I don't.
I will be in bed by 10.
I am usually I don't change my routine. I'm in bed by 7:30, 8 o'clock, and pray that I sleep through all the fireworks and dumbass people around in my neighborhood.
Yeah, we got a lot of that in Elgin. It's not fireworks, it's the gunshots.
Been lucky the last couple of New Years. Like, my neighbors are respectful. They're quiet. I live in a quiet neighborhood, so I'm lucky that way. But
how about you, Mike?
Definitely going to go for a ride.
Nice.
I don't know. I don't have any plans right now. I'm kind of just keeping it neutral.
I like it.
I mean, in years past, it's always like, like I said earlier, it's like you got to have plans for Christmas and plans for the New Year's. But honestly, it has been so nice not having to stress about it.
Yeah.
For once, like it makes me, some people call me a Scrooge, and like someone wished me a Merry Christmas when I was on the trail, and I just said "Bah humbug" as I riding.
Fuck you.
But then I started asking people, is it a Merry Christmas or a bah humbug? And I was doing that in the grocery store too, with half hour to go before close. And it's funny, they give you like, you got 30 minutes before we close for the holidays, 25 minutes. I'd be walking around. You got 15 minutes to get your stuff. Get out of here. Merry Christmas.
Talk about Grinch. Jesus.
It was a late year for everybody too, it seemed like. I think it's because we had one last weekend in December. Or between Thanksgiving and Christmas, there was one less weekend than there normally is, just because of Thanksgiving falling as late as it did. So it seems like, to me at least, I saw so many and talked to so many people that said that they didn't do their shopping until the last minute. It was a different kind of year.
For some people, I mean, some people really take it, they want to do it for their kids and have that experience. I was talking to my brother. He's like, man, my kids, like, I did all this effort and they still complain. And it's like, yeah, dude. He's like, they're just selfish.
Which one, Joel?
No, David.
Yeah, okay.
David. Yeah. Joel goes all out too. And, they want, I don't know. I don't know how their Christmas totally was, in terms of like, the kids don't necessarily know. They want what they want, and like, if they don't get it, everyone's situation is different, but I just would have a hard time with that. You go through that effort and,
dude, honestly, and we're in the opposite of that. Julie and I are with both of ours, and it's been that way forever. Our kids don't want anything. It's kind of because if they actually do have a true want, I've had in-laws that would just buy it for them, and which has made it really difficult. So you come up to a holiday and you're like, we need some ideas, what do you want? And they're all like, I don't need anything. I'm good.
I saw something or maybe a friend told me this, and it makes so much sense, because everything's discounted after the holidays, and maybe the holidays like Christmas time and New Year's and like Hanukkah or whatever you celebrate should be about presents, with a C and not a T.
Oh, absolutely.
Presents together, and then if you want to do the presents, do it after when everything is discounted. Don't in January. January, and it's like the Russian Orthodox Christmas. The Russians got it right. It's like January 15th. It's whatever that is. It's like instead of you just be present. You go out and do things together, because that's what I miss, at least this year with my family, is like the togetherness. But like being in Colorado is such a pain in the ass to like either drive or fly across the country to get there, and then it's always cold and miserable. And you just clammed up inside the house, and like 2 years ago it was COVID. Christmas time was terrible, and it's like, man, fuck that. I'm just gonna stay home and just chill.
Yeah,
it's awesome.
Nice and quiet.
Yeah, riding. The weather here is. I mean, it's December here in Colorado. It's December everywhere. Colorado, but it's like 60 degrees. It's like it's warm.
Dude, I'm so jealous.
Yeah, well, that's not normal, man. I mean, it's not.
Well, it was 50 here. What, yesterday? 2 days ago?
2 days ago.
Yeah, we went on a ride. That's
not normal.
No, I loved it. It's not normal, but I loved it. I'm not going to complain. Although I get home and the youngest, Parker, is sitting there just going, "Oh, it's because of global warming. Last winter was the warmest winter on record. We're on track to have another warm winter." He's 12, and I go, dude, I understand. You're not incorrect. There's nothing you can do about it. You're going to live your life, and we're all going to be happy. Oh my gosh!
You got a cat
now. See, I ignored Cody when Cody hopped up, but now
nice.
you have a cat. Yeah. I am a cat guy.
This is the cat that attacked me. Like used to attack Walter. That cat attacked me in my face once. Like when I first moved in here, and it's like now she's like one of my best friends. But
nice.
Like she got thrown and chased around the house when she latched onto your face, and I was being freaking. Like I love animals, and like
grab that thing by the tail and whip it against the wall.
Now she's just leaving me alone. It's kind of funny.
Yeah.
Anyways,
yeah, we've got the 3 cats, and they're all partners in crime, and they're they've been getting a lot closer. It's been a lot of fun to watch, but yeah, none of them want to be held. So, which is strange. Every cat I ever had in my life before now wouldn't leave your lap, but these won't come within 2 feet of you. But then will cry if you don't pet them.
Yeah, so. It's only at their whim. Yeah, they're so. I mean, all animals are so interesting. I mean,
yeah,
that whole vegan thing. Anything that has a conscience and conscience is different for all of us. But like a cat is aware when they go past a mirror and they see themselves and they stop. Like that's a self-awareness. I mean, even one of those dancing spiders, when they see themselves in a mirror, they're doing like that dance. I know I saw this on social media, and it's like if that thing is recognizing its reflection in a mirror and it's this tiny little insect and it's doing a dance because it sees itself as like as a potential mate, that's crazy. Or like a bear sees itself in a mirror in a woods, like that's a self-awareness. I don't know about a cow. I'm sure it's the same thing, or the dolphin hunts they do, or the whale hunts they do. It's like humans suck.
Yeah, I fully
I think
agree.
We can all agree on that. Yeah.
Fully agree.
Yeah, we really fucked this up.
That we have going on, and it's not getting better. It's just going to get worse. And
I do want to point out though that this started by you saying that you're having a beautiful day there.
Yeah, well,
good weather, and we ended up here.
Yeah, but what point do we start making a change across the spectrum of areas? And global warming is definitely a thing. Like you cannot fly in an airplane, or drive and not seeing you don't like there's human infrastructure everywhere, and that's all built on oil. We're all guilty of it. I mean,
we'll make that change when it's profitable. That's when it'll happen.
Yeah, as soon as the government figures out how to line their fucking pockets, a lot of the problems that we have will go away.
I mean, anyways.
Yeah. This is not a political podcast.
No, I know.
But no, you're right. I mean, anyway.
You know, the amount of plastics in the oceans is like, if you've
seen it in
person, if you've gone to like, I mean, you can just, if you end up going to like California and you go to like just anywhere where it's not a populated beach where it's, you know, combed out of the sand, it's insane.
Mm-hmm.
It's depressing. You know, we're doing the same thing in space too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the space stuff is kind of interesting, and it's kind of ridiculous, the amount of space junk that we have, and it's pretty sad.
Yeah, we can't get it out of there. We can't get it. You know, it's going too fast. We can't take a net up there. Yeah, anyways.
Wall-E, man. It's Wall-E.
I'm going to try to get out of here for a ride, or maybe I'll hop on Zwift. Yeah. I don't know, one or the other.
Well, we're wrapping. We definitely got to wrap here. But any closing thoughts, Tim? You got anything you want to add?
Last day of 2024 tomorrow.
I mean, what is? We didn't even get into your background there. I see a California State Championship jersey.
Oh yeah,
an Intelligentsia State Champ or Intelligentsia Champ jersey.
Cat 4 road race. The COVID border battle.
Yeah.
And
I was going to say, that's a border battle jersey. I designed that one. I apologize for the design.
And then a stage of Intelli. And then that's like from 1990, France World Championship. And that's from 1990, Spain, same year.
Nice.
I don't know. I'll try to keep it interesting.
Way more interesting than I thought they were initially. I was almost like, are those urns? You know. But...
No.
So go and check out the feed on YouTube if you're interested in what Tim has in the background. Always worth a look to go see. End of the year, help out your small businesses in your community. Be a part of your community. Always visit your local bike industry businesses whenever possible. They definitely need it. I've said it the last time. I'm going to say it again. I'm going to keep saying it for a while. It's really dark in our industry right now. But hey, it can all change with you. So be a part of the solution. Go out, obviously, get yourself some buttonhole chamois cream. You can get it at your fine retailer anywhere. You can always get it at enzocyclingproducts.com, where we do still have a 20% off special through the end of tomorrow. So through the end of December here, and free shipping if you get over $45. Code on that is Holiday Button 24. So Holiday Button 24. Enter it as a coupon during checkout and get yourself some 20% off. Thank you for everybody who has done that. There you go.
You happy, Rob?
Yes, absolutely.
She's very hungry.
Nice. I heard the crying.
Yeah. Oh, you picked that up? Yeah.
Yeah, I get that. I get that every morning. I get 3 cats basically going, "Hi, are you up?"
Yeah.
So, anyway, any closing remarks?
Just have a happy, safe last bit of 2024. I can't believe it's going to be 2025.
Yeah, it's gone quick. Since 2020, we've hit that time warp, and it's interesting.
We're in a wormhole.
Yeah. Time is meaningless anyway, so it's a construct of man. Like money or something. I don't know.
Construct of man. I mean, no.
I know. I'm being silly.
Some things are definitely a construct of man.
No, I know.
Mainly what we go to wars for, generally speaking. But hey,
I've been obviously binge watching a lot of sci-fi series lately, so I've been having some fun with that.
I watched that on Christmas. I even watched The Terminator on Christmas Eve. And that was interesting.
We went back. We watched a lot of movies like that that we haven't seen in a long time. The unfortunate thing is you usually find they don't hold up.
What's your favorite Christmas movie? I mean, it's either for me it's Home Alone or Gremlins because they're both a Christmas movie.
Nice.
Gremlins is a Christmas movie.
Gremlins is great. For me, it's the Muppet Christmas Carol.
Oh, that's another
it's
good
so
one.
Good.
On.
That's another good one.
Tim?
I don't know if I have a favorite. I think I've really, in the last couple of years, latched onto a movie called The Family Stone. I don't know if you guys have seen that. If you haven't, it's kind of like it's like this dysfunctional family comes together and like There's the pothead brother, the like emo sister, the goody brother that has like this snooty wife, and they all come to the mom's house. The mom's dying of cancer, and it's like a realistic kind of Christmas movie. Yeah.
So like a variation of like a Christmas Breakfast Club in a way.
Yeah, I wish the Breakfast Club would be, a Christmas movie. That's my fucking number one of all time.
My favorite, I don't, Christmas wise, I'd have to say like Christmas Story or
Christmas Story is played out. It used to be, but it's so like that's commercialized and played out. My wife went to Aldi and bought me fucking pajamas branded The Christmas Story. I now have a fucking pair of Ralphie and pink fucking bunny suit pajamas.
I gotta say, our family is probably National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation.
Oh, that's a great one. That is a great one.
If it's not that one, then it's going to be Home Alone. Not for me, but for the kids. Julie is more of that era. I was too old, I think, when that came out.
Yeah, no.
But
Vacation's a great one.
My favorite holiday-based movie, though, is without a doubt Planes, Trains, and Automobiles for Thanksgiving.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so, the only Thanksgiving film.
Yeah.
Really?
It's. Can you name another one?
No.
It's a phenomenal movie. I love that movie. All right. Well, we've taken up enough of your time. Thank you for joining us. I was thinking it was just going to be a quick sign-off for the end of the year, and this all came about last second. We didn't know who all was going to be on it until, I want to say, like 20 minutes before we started.
Longest podcast of the year.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you all for joining us. Mike, good to see you. Anthony, good to see you. Thanks for joining us again.
And Anthony.
And Tim, we'll see you soon, hopefully.
Yep.
We'll get at this next week, and hopefully we'll get Leah back in here, and she can tell us how horrible her holiday was. So, anyway, thanks for joining us, and enjoy the ride.